And we're following breaking news now in Fairfax, where a former teacher has been sentenced to 43 years in prison.
Christopher Kloman was convicted on charges of sexually abusing children decades ago. Today, his victims were there in the courtroom. Our Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Jeff Goldberg joins us now with their reactions. Evening, Jeff.
Leon and Allison, this was an extremely emotional day in court. There were tears everywhere, both those in support of the victims in these crimes and also those supporting of Mr. Kloman. It was an extremely emotional testimony that lasted, or wrapped up rather, just 45 minutes ago, and the judge coming down with the ruling that 74-year-old Chris Kloman will be sentenced to 43 years in prison. Here are some pictures now from victims after the court hearing, walking outside the court, being led by Gloria Allred, their attorney. A lot of hugging, a lot of crying. Now, during this hearing, which lasted nearly 3 hours, 5 different women talked about how Kloman molested and inappropriately touched them while they were students. And Kloman was a teacher at the Potomac School in McLean in the 1960s, the late 1960s and early 1970s. The women, then 12 and 13-year-old girls, talked in court today about how these incidents terrified and shattered them, quote, left a chasm in my soul. The investigation started 2 years ago when one of the victims saw Kloman teaching at her daughter's school, Washington Episcopal in Bethesda. At that point, she went to authorities and the investigation began. Kloman pleaded guilty in August to the crimes, but for the victims, they say this pain will never go away.
The abuse I suffered from Chris Kloman in 1966 changed who I am and how I have lived my life since. To this day, I am still climbing back out of a dark place where after 5 months of abuse, 5 months, I made myself numb, emotionally shut down in order to cope with my internal misery of guilt.
Now, Kloman's wife and 3 children spoke on his behalf, calling him a caring, genuine, honorable person. Kloman himself, actually through tears, said he was embarrassed and ashamed by his behavior and apologized for his actions. But the judge staying firm in her ruling of sentencing him to 43 years in prison. Now, of course, the other question is about the Potomac School in McLean, the school where these young girls attended and where Kloman was a teacher for so many years. These young women, or the now women when they were young girls, saying that when these incidents were reported to administrators, they did not fire or reprimand Kloman, but rather sent him to counseling. Here now is a statement from the Potomac School from the head of the school, John Kowalik, saying, quote, personally, I grieve that one person's reprehensible behavior could cause so much pain in the lives of so many. We've reached out to the victims and welcome further opportunity to speak with them and offer our help. Just after this ruling, Gloria Allred, the attorney representing the victims in this case, said that they are going to be speaking with the Potomac School. We asked whether or not there's going to be some sort of lawsuit filed, a civil suit perhaps. No word on that right now. Conversations will continue, but this case, while the ruling and the sentencing took place today, certainly does not appear to be done. Live in Fairfax, Jeff Goldberg, ABC 7 News.
Thank you, Jeff.